Good evening, liveweatherblogs.com meteorologist Bob Acarfrio with our latest update on the tropics. We now have Tropical Storm Danielle. This is our fourth named system of the season. It is located at 13.4 north, 35.1 west, maximum sustained winds at 40 miles an hour, movement to the northwest at 12. And here's its current position right here. Forecast map by the National Hurricane Center. This is the official forecast track. Has not changed much. They had to shift it a little farther north because we saw the system get tugged north for a while today as a system off to its northeast was kind of interacting with the low-level center. But since then, it's starting to come back to the west-northwest again. That west-northwest motion will be with us for the next approximately 72 hours as it's steered by a upper ridge right to its north here, the subtropical ridge. And then in about 72 hours, we're going to have a little break in the ridge as a trough moves to its north. That's going to induce a little bit of northwest motion here, which is going to keep it far enough away from the islands, Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands. All this is going to be spared by this system. At that time is when this could become a hurricane as it gets into a little better shear environment. Although now I'm starting to be a little hesitant on whether this will actually become a hurricane. I'll show you that in a minute. And then again, once it'll get tugged to the northwest, and then towards the end of the week, it'll begin to slow down again as another ridge builds to its north. And then as this slowdown occurs, we'll see, will it start bending back to the west a little bit, and then it'll have to wait for another trough, which by next weekend it'll be exiting the east coast, and that'll be another one to kind of push it farther north. So again, depending on how strong these troughs are will depend how far north it gets. The models haven't changed much today, which is good. So we continue to see about the same track. But again, this could move a little farther west, and then will Bermuda get into the picture down the road? Will New England or even the Canadian Maritimes get in the picture? We'll have to still watch that carefully. Again, that's 7 to 10 days out in the forecast period, and anything could happen. Looking at the satellite loop, and you can see this was moving north, and then the last few frames here this afternoon started to move back to the west, and then it got under this nice big blow up of convection, and that gave us our tropical storm Danielle. So, and this should keep moving west-northwest, like I said, the next 72 hours. The shear is still going to be there for the next 48 to 72 hours, that easterly shear. So, slow development. Slow development should maintain tropical storm status for the next 48 to 72 hours as it moves west-northwest and still has this marginally favorable environment. We're still going to have this easterly shear with it. Looking at the water vapor loop, and here we go. And you can see that blow up even on the water vapor loop here, the last few frames of that convection in that low-level center moving under it. Here is that system off to the northeast that was affecting it, that tugged it. Now that's starting to diminish, and we should have this west-northwest motion. Still a lot of dry air in here. You even can see the outflow. Outflow is not that great to the north. You can see it's kind of getting cut off out here. And that's a lot of dry, stable air. And that could have an influence on this system not really making it to a hurricane. We've seen a lot of the intensity models start coming down the last 24 hours. And I'll show you that in a minute. So this is where it is. We've heard that dry, stable term all hurricane season. Again, this could be what'll save us from having a big system out here. But again, we'll see what happens there. Still thinking we should be getting a hurricane in about 3 to 4 days. But right now, major hurricane doesn't look that good. And then after we get to about 5 days out, we might be having some southwesterly shear start hitting this system as well as as it starts nearing these troughs. So again, way out there, and we'll see what happens there. Again, here's the shear. We're at about 15 to 20 knots of easterly shear today. This should continue as it moves west-northwest. Then we should get into a better favorable environment out here, but then that dry air might be hitting it. So we'll have to see. Still thinking we'll see a hurricane in about 3 days, but I'm not as confident that we'll even see a major hurricane out of this at this time. All right, latest model runs, 18Z, Clark Evans product. Again, no real changes here. Same thing, west-northwest and then northwest. And here's the intensity models. And if you look at this purple line, this is the LGEM. And you could see this had it close to a Category 2 about a day ago. It's already come down. It doesn't even bring it to a hurricane anymore. The SHIPS model does bring it into a hurricane, but not as big as it once was. The only model that's really been pumping this thing up lately is the GFDL, and here's the GFDL now as it brings it to a major hurricane. So that's really been the model that's really started to ramp this thing up. The rest of the intensity models has come down on it, and GFDL is known for really bringing these things up a little too quickly. So my bet is maybe a hurricane with this one, Category 1. Official forecast by the National Hurricane Center still brings us to a Category 1 hurricane in 72 hours. But we'll have to see really how that goes. I'm, again, not as confident as that we'll see a real strong hurricane out here at this time. But you never know. That's down the road there. Euro model kind of went back east again today. This is the only model that really shifted a lot. This thing's been shifting back and forth with each run. Boy, confidence is pretty bad with this one right now. But it's again shifted east. Heading towards Bermuda now, kind of with the rest of the models now. The rest of the models didn't change much today at 12Z, but the Euro's back in this this right in here. And again, looking at the bigger picture, this is from Weather Underground, and really the western outlier right now is still the no gaps model here in black. The rest of the models, again, this kind of motion. And again, once it gets out here in day 5 and slows down, waiting for the next trough, will it move farther west and then get picked up? Then Bermuda might be in play, and then possibly Nova Scotia, Newfoundland. So we still have to watch that. And again, New England's still in play here. I mean, you just never know out that far. So we still have to watch this system carefully. Well, that's it for the update on Tropical Storm Danielle. I will have another update for you guys tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Bye-bye.